I think it's like 6.
Like one was like 85.
Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to get into the details of Pythagorean's theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I will do the first one with you. If you guys can do the second one on your own, then I'm just going to kind of skip over those first examples, and we will go on to kind of the part that will be new to you. All right, so I've got 4, a 7, and then there's an x. Remember, the side that is opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, and that's always going to be the c value. No matter what, the hypotenuse is always going to be the c value. So for me to solve this one, it would be 4 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. And then as I go through and I start to do those steps, it should be 16 plus 49 equals c squared. Whoops. That gives me 65 equals c squared. So I added those together. And then my final answer is going to be c, because I'm going to square root both sides. So c is going to equal the square root of 65. Again, Pythagorean theorem, feeling good? Okay. Show me.
You were good here.
Make sure it's a square root.
How do you unsquare the x?
What did you say?
What? The x is squared. How do you unsquare it?
Square root it.
Yeah. I make it a square root that part.
Okay, for those people who are a little bit stuck and you're getting some numbers off. Okay, again, if people are a little bit stuck, I'm going to write these ones down. This 8 should be your A side. This side over here should be the B side. The hypotenuse is going to be your C side. That hopefully will help.
Wait, how do you, this might be a stupid question, but how do you know which is the C side?
So the C side is always opposite of the hypotenuse, or of the right angle.
Okay.
So it's across from it no matter what. Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes.
Should be
Yep.
64x squared.
What's the answer right here?
No, that's not the
Where
answer.
did you get that?
No.
You bro.
I think we're going to do an extra problem on this one.
Okay. It's alright, guys.
It's okay. Yes.
Keep trying.
Are you supposed to screw? Something like I don't know if they squared it supposed to be.
So far, yes.
I'm so
So
confused.
we want to get the x squared outside all by itself.
Oh, so just my x.
Ricky, what'd you get? Well,
So this one
Okay, what'd you guys get?
should be on this side.
Oh, I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
I'm so confused.
All right, tell you what, guys.
You don't have to make it a whole.
I'm going to do this one with you.
We're done.
It's It's not that you're dumb. It's been a while though.
I agree with that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. All
I
right,
got that right.
I'm going to go through and I'm going to rework this one. So hopefully you guys are ready for it. Again, my Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the numbers we have, it would be 8 squared plus, I'm going to say b squared equals 12 squared. 8 squared is 64 plus, I don't know what b squared is yet, equals 144 minus 64 to both sides. I should get b squared equals 80. And the very last step, I'm going to square root both sides. So b is going to equal the square root of 80 or 8.9. Or if you also did it, you could have done 4 radical 5.
Oh, I just got 4 to start with 5.
Yep.
8.9.
Yeah, so again, 3 separate ways you can write it. If you want to leave it as radical 80, I'm good with that. If you want to give it a decimal and actually do the square root of 80, it would be 8.9. If you wanted to leave it like as a mixed radical number, you can pull out a perfect square of 16 from there, so it'd be 4 radical 5. All 3 of these are saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Again, no matter what, it's going to be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. If they give you both the legs, they'll use that, the a part and the b part. No matter what, the hypotenuse, the longest angle, I'm going to make a little note of that, or not angle, the longest side, no matter what, has to be your c. Okay? The hypotenuse is always going to be the longest side in a perfectly right triangle. Okay? So if it's bigger, or if it is not the biggest number, double check it and make sure that you didn't mix something up. Okay, we'll do this one. I want you to talk me through it though. Actually, I'm going to give you another one. This triangle here, pretend it's a better drawing. I want this one to be 8 and this one to be 16.
Does she want to?
That's yours, so smart.
I asked before, does anybody need more light so there's solar power calculators over? Yeah, I'll turn it up. Sorry about that.
I'm in this on my phone, so that's mine's good.
That help? No more? Okay.
I got these.
Yes.
I have a question. So, did you start at 16 as
1.14.
Yeah, I didn't square root
you
it.
didn't.
Perfect. A or B, doesn't matter which one.
You did 190.
So far, perfect.
It's 8 to the square root of 3.
You said 180.
No, I said 192.
I'll speak up next time.
Oh, yeah, should I?
This one?
Shut
This
up.
is our longest one.
That's
opposite there. It has to be on the
But
outside.
you were making me furious in science.
Y'all know who's 83?
No one cares. Okay.
Caleb, stop.
Caleb?
Yes.
Stop.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
everybody love everybody. It's all
Yeah.
Caleb.
I don't want Caleb.
I'm fine with that.
You don't agree.
Yeah.
I like you in my life.
I like my love.
I didn't swear.
Yes.
I got confused.
Yes.
Even though he just explained it too.
I'm not gonna score.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write the steps down based on the people I looked at. It looks like you guys have it down at this point. You guys are figuring it out again, or it's coming back to you. So again, I'll say this is my A, this is my B, this is my C. So I've got 8 squared plus B squared equals 16 squared. 8 squared is 64 plus B squared equals 256. I'm going to subtract 64 from both sides. I get B squared equals 192. I'm going to square root both sides. I'm good with your answer being B is the square root of 192. Or you could say 13.86 because it's 8.56.
What about 8 to the square root of 3?
Yes. Yes.
I just told you.
Wait. Yes. Yep. All right. Any other questions on Pythagorean's theorem? Okay. I'm not, gents and ladies. Okay, I'm not going to go over this part because if you do Pythagorean's theorem, it will automatically go the same way. There are some things called Pythagorean's triples. Don't worry about writing it down. I'm just going to explain what they are. There are kind of a couple sets of numbers that no matter what will come out with like perfect squares every single time. The one that I know of, again, I do math, I don't even memorize all these ones. It's 3, 4, and 5. If you see one that has a 3 and then one that has a 4, the hypotenuse is going to be 5. But no matter what, if you do Pythagorean's theorem, you will still come out to those exact same numbers. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the triples. I'm not going to worry about that part right there. Okay. The next part, I'm going to write this stuff down. I do want to explain it because we have the second part of the assignment is going to be Pythagorean inequalities. Okay. I'll make it a little bit dimmer for you. So I will write the 3 of them that are going to be up there. Here, let me just kind of, let me get rid of this part here. If I have, I'm going to write it here. If I have C squared equaling A squared plus B squared, that's going to be a right triangle. Okay? That's Pythagorean's theorem. Again, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And I'm having you guys write it with C first because it makes figuring out the next part a little bit easier.
This is like the formula for what?
So this is going to be Pythagorean inequalities.
Okay.
Okay? So if C squared equals A squared plus B squared, it's a right angle. If C squared is bigger than A squared plus B squared, it's an obtuse angle. Meaning that this is going to be the bigger one, so it has to be bigger than 90, so it's an obtuse angle. If C squared is less than A squared plus B squared, it is acute. Okay. The one other part that I want to put out on how we can figure out which letters are going to stand for which sides. Here is the really simple trick to figure out which one is going to be your C side of the triangle. Okay? Your C value. That should be a U, not a V. C value is always the biggest. So no matter what, whenever you have these, the biggest number will always be the one that you put in the position of C. So when we set these ones up to figure it out, you'll kind of do it like this. You'll have your C value here. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to put like a box. You're going to leave an opening there. Because it'll be C squared plus that A value plus that B value squared. And then once you solve this, and you'll solve this. Solve this side, you'll solve this side. You'll figure out, are you going to put an equal sign, a greater than sign, or a less than sign? Okay? You're going to solve this side, you'll solve this side. You're going to put your whatever inequality or equality sign in there. Okay? Anybody need to write that down some more? Okay. I'm going to go to, I got 3 examples, then we're done. Whoops. So out of these 3 numbers, which one's my biggest? 15. So as I do this, I will have 15 squared, this opening here, I don't know what it is yet, then 9 squared plus 12 squared. So when I do this, 15 squared is going to be, 15 squared is going to be 225. 9 squared is 81. 12 squared is going to be 144. Still have that box. I don't know what it is yet. I got 225. And then this side added up together is going to be 225. What symbol will go in between those? The equal sign. If it's an equal sign, what type of triangle is it going to be? Right triangle. Again, I do both sides, and then I figure out what's going to go in the center. Okay? This one. Which one's my biggest number? 13. It'll be 13 squared. This little box right here. 10 squared plus 11 squared. 13 squared is going to be 169. 10 squared is 100. Plus 11 squared is 121. I get 169. I'll put that box there. And then I have whatever this is going to be in 221. Which sign am I going to put in there? Less than sign. Yep, because 169 is smaller than it. So it's less than that. So what type of angle is this going to be? Acute angle. Feeling all right? Last one's going to be all you. Yes.
Just saying.
Perfect. All right. For the people that worked it Everyone I saw got it right. So again, we had 16 squared. This box, whatever it is, 7 squared plus 14 squared. I'm going to skip over some steps. I got 256. And this side was going to be 245. You should have figured out this side was the bigger one. So it is obtuse. Good? Your assignment. 10 through 14 even, 26 through 26 even. Or 22 through 26 even. So all of those are even numbers. You guys have like 18 minutes left. So a lot of time. I'm going to go back up there again.